5 years ago, two friends went camping in the backcountry of New Zealand and vanished without a single trace. Their tents were found untouched, their car still parked at the trailhead, and their names slowly faded from the headlines. But what the police and volunteers couldn't uncover in weeks, a drone would accidentally reveal years later. And what it found changed everything. Before we get into this story, please take a moment to support the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next deep story we uncover together. Now, let's go back to where it all began. It was late November of 2018, early summer in New Zealand, when the wild valleys of Fiordland National Park came alive with travelers and campers. Among them were two lifelong friends, Ethan Clark, 29, and Lucas Riley, 28. Ethan was an amateur photographer, the kind who could spend hours chasing light through the trees. Lucas was quieter, more practical. He worked as a mechanic in Queenstown, saving for his own small garage. Every year, they'd take one trip into the wild. No cell service, no distractions, just open sky and silence. That year's destination, the Dusky Track, one of the most challenging routes in all of New Zealand. Deep forest, steep ridges, unpredictable weather. It was the kind of trail that only experienced hikers dared to take. They told their families they'd be gone for 5 days. Ethan's sister, Hannah, remembered his last message. It was short, signals weak, but this place is unreal. See you soon. He was never seen again. When day 5 passed with no word, their families assumed they'd lost reception, common in that area. But by day 7, concern turned into fear. Hannah and Lucas's girlfriend, Mia, drove to the park's ranger station. The ranger checked the logbook. The names Ethan Clark and Lucas Riley were signed in. They had entered the trail on November 24th. But there were no signatures showing they ever came out. Search and rescue was deployed that evening. Helicopters flew over the dense green valleys, teams combed the trail on foot, dogs sniffed along creeks and ridges. They found their car, still parked at the trailhead, keys under the seat, a half-empty bottle of water in the cup holder. 2 days later, a searcher found their campsite. The tent was still standing. Inside were sleeping bags, an unopened pack of food, a camera tripod, and nothing else. No footprints led away. No signs of struggle. Just silence. The official report read, "No immediate evidence of foul play. Possibility of accidental fall, animal involvement, or getting lost due to weather change." But even the rangers knew that trail didn't just swallow people whole. Something else had happened there. For 3 weeks, over 60 volunteers and 8 professional rescuers scoured the area. They followed the riverbeds, rappelled cliffs, and searched every hut and clearing. Helicopters used thermal cameras to spot signs of heat. Nothing. The weather turned violent. Torrential rain hit the mountains, turning paths into streams and slopes into mudslides. After 21 days, the search was suspended. Families refused to believe it was over. Hannah launched a private effort, hiring local trackers and even reaching out to drone hobbyists who sometimes explored the park. For months, she posted flyers, contacted online forums, and begged for help. But time moved on. New hikers came. Old cases faded. And Ethan and Lucas became just 2 more names on the long list of those who vanished in Fiordland. By 2021, the world had changed. Drones were everywhere, used for mapping, photography, even rescue missions. Hannah still held on to her brother's memory. Every year on the anniversary, she'd hike to the same trailhead and leave flowers by the signboard. In one interview, she said, "It's not knowing that hurts. You can grieve when you know. But not knowing keeps you awake forever." Then, In February 2023, something unexpected happened. A small adventure YouTube channel based in Wellington uploaded a video titled, "Exploring the Forgotten Ridge, Hidden Waterfall Found by Drone." It didn't go viral, not at first. It showed drone footage of an untouched section of Fiordland, overgrown and mist-covered. But one of the viewers left a comment that would change everything. Pause at 7:41. There's something on the rocks. Looks like a tent or tarp. That comment went unnoticed for 3 weeks, until Hannah, still subscribed to multiple drone pages, stumbled on the clip. She froze. She knew that shape. It looked exactly like the tent Ethan had taken 5 years ago. Hannah contacted authorities again, this time armed with coordinates from the video's metadata. It took 2 weeks for Park Services to assemble a small team with drones and access permits. On a cold morning in March 2023, they launched new flights over the area. What the footage captured stunned everyone. On the edge of a ravine, hidden by thick canopy, lay a collapsed tent, faded blue and covered in moss. Beside it, the glint of metal, a camera, half buried under roots. They sent in a rescue crew by helicopter. The site was almost impossible to reach, a sheer drop, 40 meters down from the main trail. When they got there, they confirmed it. The camera was Ethan's. The serial number matched. Inside the tent were fragments of fabric, 2 decayed sleeping bags, and a weathered notebook. It was the first sign of the 2 friends since 2018. And what was inside the camera would soon reveal the truth about their final hours. When the rescue crew handed over the camera to investigators, it was barely holding together. The lens was cracked, and the SD card was corroded by years of exposure. But inside the lab, technicians managed to extract fragments of footage, about 15 minutes of usable video. The files were dated November 27, 2018, the last day Ethan and Lucas were known to be alive. What they showed was not what anyone expected. The first clips were normal, Ethan laughing as he filmed a waterfall, Lucas packing the tent, both joking about who'd cooked dinner that night. The sky was overcast but calm. Then, the camera cut to a sequence of shaky shots. The wind had picked up. You could hear rain starting to fall, faint thunder echoing through the valley. Ethan's voice said, "This storm wasn't on the forecast. We're trying to move down before it hits hard." The video showed them struggling through thick undergrowth. Lucas carried the tripod, Ethan followed behind, panting heavily. Then there was a sudden slip, the camera jolted, the sound of tumbling rocks, and then, static. When the video resumed, it was darker. You could hear heavy breathing. The angle tilted sideways, the camera lying on its side, recording fragments of motion and sound. Ethan's voice was strained. Lucas fell. "I can't see him." The slope gave way. "Oh my God! Lucas!" There was no response. Just the sound of wind and rushing water below. The footage ended there. But that wasn't the last file. There was another, smaller, corrupted but partially recovered. In it, Ethan appeared again, sitting inside the tent. His voice was hoarse, tired. He looked like he hadn't slept. "It's been 1 day since the fall," he said quietly. "I can't reach Lucas. I tried to climb down, but it's too steep. My legs cut bad. The rain keeps coming." He looked toward the camera, breathing slow. "If anyone finds this, tell my family I didn't give up." He turned off the camera. That was the last frame ever recorded. The position of the tent made sense now. It was wedged halfway down a ravine, shielded by fallen branches and vines. Lucas likely fell during the storm, and Ethan, injured, had tried to wait out the weather, only to succumb to exposure days later. But the recovery team found something else near the edge of the slope, a rusted metal flask engraved with initials. LR inside was a folded piece of paper, still faintly legible. It was a note written by Ethan. "If you find this, Lucas is below. I couldn't reach him. The storm took everything. I'll wait here till morning. Maybe someone will see the fire." That fire explained the patch of scorched earth near the site, a desperate attempt for rescue no one ever saw. When authorities confirmed the identities, the families finally had what they'd begged for all those years: answers. The remains of Ethan and Lucas were airlifted out, their belongings catalogued, and the story spread through New Zealand news within days. But what struck people most wasn't just the tragedy, it was how close they'd been to being found all along. The spot was less than 600 meters off the main trail, hidden only by dense canopy and the terrain's steepness. For 5 years, thousands of hikers had unknowingly walked right above them. Hannah later said in an interview, "I used to dream of seeing him walk through the door again. But now, I think knowing is its own kind of mercy." She kept her brother's recovered camera, still muddy and scarred by time. She uploaded one of his last landscape photos online, a golden ridge bathed in fog. It went viral, shared by thousands who followed the story. She captioned it simply, "He found beauty, even at the end." Months later, the YouTube channel that had unknowingly filmed the drone footage returned to Fiordland to make a follow-up video. They revisited the ridge, showing where the tent had been found, now cordoned off and marked by a small memorial plaque. But in their closing shot, they noticed something chilling, a second ridge across the ravine, one no one had explored before. Through the mist, another faint shape could be seen under the trees. Authorities later investigated. It turned out to be Lucas's backpack, intact, containing a waterproof map, a lighter, and 2 sealed food packs. He might have survived longer than anyone thought. That detail was never confirmed publicly. But for many who followed the case, it left a haunting possibility. That maybe, just maybe, Lucas was alive for days, calling for help that never came. The case officially closed in late 2023, classified as a tragic accident due to terrain and weather. But for hikers across New Zealand, it became more than that, a cautionary story about how unforgiving the wilderness can be, and how technology, even years later, can bring the truth to light. Today, the ridge where they vanished is unofficially called Clark's Hollow. Some hikers say that at dawn, when the fog rolls in, you can still hear the faint echo of a voice, calling out through the valley. Whether that's just the wind or something more, no one knows. But one thing is certain, if not for a random drone flight 5 years later, their story might have stayed buried forever. If this story moved you, take a second to help more people hear it. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It helps keep stories like this alive, stories of people who disappeared, and the truth that still waits out there in the wild. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe and never hike alone.